James Carville's of the mainstream media. Hope has never arrived through staunch pragmatism, and it's for that reason that I am still considering my own decision as to whom I will vote for. But in fairness to Ralph Nader, the American hero in this building with us tonight, to the Bob Barrs, the Ron Pauls, Cynthia McKinneys, and the independent spirit of Dennis Kucinich, when we are told not to vote for someone because he or she is a spoiler, let's remember that Barack Obama himself is considered the greatest spoiler of all by a narcissistic branch of Democrats who've simply forgotten their manners, a slip of hubris that must certainly have Dr. King clawing at his casket as in their defiance, like a little kid losing it at a game, they take the ball from the field and switch their allegiance to the man who would be George Bush III, John McCain. In the decision we make, it's imperative that we address the future. That's what this is all about. Quality of life is the singular global issue. And it's upon all of us to seek it for all. Our hopes for our children are the clearest path to that end, and I would like to sum up in this way. I don't believe that being in the habit of impeaching our presidents, for example, the silliness of the Clinton affair, is a beneficial one for our system. However, I learned a long time ago that the toughest guy on the block is the one with the least to lose. And though most Democrats were initially critical of President Ford's decision to pardon Richard Nixon, what was most appalling were the revisionist positions expressed upon the death of Gerald Ford. Democrat after Democrat lined up to praise his unifying of our country in a divided time. And yes, in the short term, that was a reasonable success. But as the toughest guy on the block is the one with the least to lose, so is the weakest the one with the most. We see it in the death penalty state statistics where executions serve no purpose of deterrence because the homicidal mind so often considers that there's nothing to lose. But if these elitist terrorists, these elitist traitors of the Bush administration had grown their political careers as Richard Nixon ended his in prison, I think it's a pretty good bet that their feeding at the trough, devouring our Constitution, would have been kept to a minimum. We have to focus on equal justice and accountability if we're to achieve the democracy we dream of. We all know that another hurricane is threatening the Gulf Coast at this very moment. So few have been held accountable to the disastrous and inhuman response to the devastation that was Katrina. We have a long, long way to go, and we should all pray that the defining moment will not come in the form of a Category 5 hurricane in the coming days or weeks. But even were that current threat not present, Katrina still would be. Not only have we not held those who failed the Gulf Coast accountable, we have continued to fail the needs of those in the Gulf Coast today. The defining moment really is that whoever you vote for, you better hold his ass to the fire. Putting on pressure, district by district, media outlet by media outlet, that as it is our job, it is theirs to serve this country's great Constitution. The next time somebody says the words, "How dare Ralph Nader run?" you ask them what they did for their country today. if they're doing their job, Ralph Nader's intelligence, patriotism, and obligation by any means to have his voice, truly representative of so many of ours, heard, Ralph will be the last thing that gets in their way. But if you find them dumbstruck, mindlessly hostile, or arrogantly dismissive, tell them Ralph's coming for them. We have got to stop telling people not to think and speak. And I thank for my opportunity to speak today my friend Matt Gonzalez, Ralph Nader, and in particular all of you. Thank you very much.
And in the spirit of thank yous, I also want to say thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers who passed out thousands of flyers and did lots of other stuff to get you guys into the seats. And there are clipboards going around in case you want to donate some of your blood, sweat, and tears to the Nader campaign, or if you just want to keep in touch and know what we're up to. So sign that and pass it to your friend. The next speaker I'll introduce in clues. He's from Colorado. He founded AlternativeTentacles.com. He's the only musician to be prosecuted for a music album. And he sang for a little old band called the Dead Kennedys. At this point, it would be just a little too weird if I wasn't talking about Joe Biafra. So welcome him on stage.
Thank you, and thanks a lot for coming down. There's way more people here than I thought there were going to be, and that's a very, very good sign. Don't worry about this. It's not that bad. I just got to be nice to it in rehab, or my new band ain't going to play here next year. So be warned. And looking around the past few days, once again, it really brings home to me just how rabidly anti-democratic the Democratic Party really is. Look at all the barriers everywhere. They've spent $50 million on so-called security just to make sure that people like Iraq veterans against the war who marched on the Pepsi Center after Rage Against the Machine had a nice round of police ready to beat the crap out of them so they couldn't deliver a very diplomatically written letter to Barack Obama to end the war. They even closed off the park in the Civic Center. What are they so afraid of? Dump trucks blocking the roads? That doesn't cost $50 million. Who pocketed the other $49 million? That's what I want. Tomorrow night they're blocking off I-25 for 4 hours. They've gone so overboard, I'm kind of half hoping that they've gone to such extremes that Obama speaks to an empty Invesco field. What are they so afraid of? That somebody's going to throw a pie at Nancy Pelosi for being so spineless? Are they afraid somebody will point out to Hillary Clinton that pantsuit she had on last night is the same color as prison uniforms? And jack-o'-lanterns? And point out that here it was her job to get all the women so inspired that we might finally get a woman president to rally behind Obama, and she did not mention reproductive choice once in her whole speech. Do they really want to win at all here, or is it like Gore and Kerry and Michael Dukakis and throwing everything away? Well, we've got once again, deal makers instead of leaders. Deal makers instead of leaders, like Pelosi, and even worse example, Ken Salazar. Bad enough Obama voted for the Patriot Act, as did Salazar. He even voted for the Military Commissions Act to legalize torture and secret trials and kidnapping innocent people out of one country and torturing them in another. He must be opposed next time he's up for election. Torture is not okay. Ever. What Ken Salazar voted to legalize and John Salazar voted to legalize is all the same things our ancestors fought so hard in World War II to stop the Nazis from doing. There is no middle ground on torture. Torture is not American. It is not okay. And I know a lot of people in this room may well vote for Obama. This is a swing state. And sure, he's slightly better than McCain. Slightly. But if he gets in,